Is he giving us a better angle? Whatever that better angle is, that's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm, no pun intended, that's what I'm aiming for. Okay, again, no pun intended, but that is what my goal is when it comes to fighting, right? That's my fight craft. Hey, how's it going, friends? And welcome back to another World of Warships Legends replay with Ronin 47R. As we jump into this, we are looking at the legendary tier United States of America battleship, the Montana. And here we go. So, you probably already saw the thumbnail, you probably saw the title, so you kind of know where we're going with this. But this is a great opportunity to take a look at how I am playing with my boats here in the bathtub and getting some pretty darn good damage. Okay. Actually, probably the highest damage I've ever earned in the Montana. As a baseline, just me. I'm always shooting for 100K. 100,000 damage to me in a game is kind of like you're showing up, you're doing your job. Nothing to brag about, but you're doing your job, right? You're contributing. Then when you get north of that, that's when it starts getting kind of exciting and tickles my pickle. So let's go ahead and jump into this game. You guys are probably very familiar with the good old Montana here, legendary tier, like I've previously mentioned. Probably the hardest hitting, U.S. battleship that we have to date, for obvious reasons. The tier, and you know how it goes. As you go up the tier, 99% of the time, as you go up the tier ladder, you get bigger and bigger toys, bigger and bigger guns, that sort of thing. So the lethality increases. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to a little more exciting section here, right after I mention kind of the layout, which is one of the things that I really look at when I jump into a game is who am I playing with? Not who the individual name, although I do scan for friends. But I mean the class of ship. What is the makeup of our flotilla? Example, we have everybody's a battleship, 1 cruiser, 3 DDs, right? Then I also look at the enemy, which for the most part, I'm not, good job wargaming. I think at this day and age, at least for World of Warships, the matchmaking has been pretty good. So there you go. So there you go with an exact stand up of the same red and blue. So knowing this, I'm thinking, okay, you got a lot of, in theory, a lot of slow moving snipery ships. Versus 1 cruiser, which is, in my mind, a cruiser, generically speaking, without getting into the individual cruiser that we're playing in this team or any other. But generically speaking, cruisers, yeah, to me, they're battleship harassers and they're DD hunters, right? Then you got your DDs, and those guys, I'm gonna call them scouts, right? They're scouts. They're torpedo stealth ninja assassins. They're harassers, and that sort of thing. So knowing that type of layout for the various classes, I ask myself, okay, so who's going to do what, and then, or what they should be doing, and then what I'm doing. Wait for it. Dang it! You got to be kidding me. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, now that we know what the ships are capable of, what they should be doing, right? At least in your mind, all right? Because we know everything, right? The world revolves around us. Then it's like, okay, let's watch how the team unfolds. And so in this particular game, you're looking at, it's unfolding pretty well. I mean, you've got our team, who's, we own A, we're almost done with B. They're kind of fighting that out there. C is being taken over by the Reds, but B, they were fighting it out. There was some DD action over there. We finally got it. Score-wise, yes, Red's winning because they've killed 1 more of our ships. But as far as territory is concerned, okay, good stuff on that. So it's moving in the right direction in my mind. DDs are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and everyone else is kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing as well, as we're looking at both of these flanks. So that was tasty. I'll take that. Boom. So what I'm doing, just kind of really talking about, focusing it on how I play this thing, and I'm happy and really want to know how you guys do it. But when it comes to battleships, 99% of the time, I am a sniper. Actually, that's true for cruisers as well. My play style, whether you agree with it or not, and it seems to do well for me, is that, especially in the front end of a game, is I like to keep folks at the furthest reach of my guns. It helps me stay as concealed as possible, of course, until you fire. But also, too, it gives me more time to react. And God forbid, I don't want to be surprised by anything and then like, oh no, I'm being focus fired and it's so slow to move and all that kind of fun stuff. So I like to go ahead and snipe with my, floating artillery here. And that's how I play the game. And, we're into this thing here, 6 minutes-ish, and I'm up to 55. So nothing really to brag about, but we're trugging along just fine. We're doing terrible, though, as far as points and as far as how the ships are dying, unfortunately. So let's see how this thing is going to turn out. Let's focus back on this. All right, so we're back in the game here, focusing on the status, which is uh-oh. That's my official status label, by the way, is we're at an uh-oh status. Personally, 60,000 health, not too bad. Tasty, come on, what do we got? Really trying to, it's so satisfying. Really, one of the things I would share with you is, the concept of DPM, right? Damage per minute. And in any game, I'm just making a blanket rule and then I'll come back and refine it. My thought process is just damage per minute. How fast can we get those rounds out? Keep it going. Keep those guns humming, right? Wait for it. That was weak. And so that was my mentality, right? So I'm reloaded. I see the ship out there. And regardless of what that ship is doing, what my target is doing, regardless, as soon as I'm reloaded, I'm firing. That was my old school trend of thought. New school / present trend of thought. And here's my advice, right? You guys do what you need to do, but my advice is now what I do is I'm looking at the ship, looking at the target. Now, if I see that the target is cruising along and it's just broadside or close, I'm just saying my goal is 90 degrees. 90 degrees would be like beautiful. 90 degrees to my point of reference. That's optimal. If it's close to that, right? Whatever that means to you, right? 80, 45, I don't know. But if it's close to that, cool. We're on. It's on like Donkey Kong. But what I'm doing nowadays is I'm watching this ship, okay? And I'll just do BB versus BB or, cruiser, whatever. Destroyers are a whole nother discussion about how I approach fighting those guys. But as that ship is doing something, if it's cruising along and pretty much not changing course, that's one observation, that's one situation, cool. If I see that this guy is getting ready to turn, right? Like somebody just launched some torps, right? And I'm like, oh, the enemy's gonna react to those torps being launched. If that's the case, then I hold off on my fire or fire as quickly as possible, depends on what's happening. But that really affects me as to when I'm pressing the trigger, okay? So what I do is I hold off. This guy's turning. Oh, cool, he's turning. Well, then let's go ahead and give him time to see where do we think he's going to stop turning? Is he giving us a better angle? Whatever that better angle is, that's what I'm shooting for. That's what no pun intended. That's what I'm aiming for. Okay, again, no pun intended, but that is what my goal is when it comes to fighting, right? That's my fight craft. So don't worry about DPM. I mean, yeah, that's great. But a shot that bounces many times is not worth one shot that totally citadeled and just tasty 30 grand yum. That's awesome, right? Versus all these shots that are like 1,000, 3,000, All right, Alaska, eat it. Let's see. Survey says it's too far behind. Yeah, see, it's too far behind. Now, I purposely did take that risk because I figured, you know what? If I were to aim, quote, properly, the mountain would have totally eaten so many of those shots. So what I was doing was, hopefully he slows down, turns away, which in essence slows it down as well. But I was just going to figure it out. I would just get the tail end because I knew that the time he goes around the island, I would still be, fairly reloaded. It was not that big of a deal. Now that looks really good. See how he's forced to stay perpendicular? Nice. Now that's tasty. He was forced to stay on course because he had to thread the needle with those torpedoes, which is great. And that's another thing too, is, work with your team. I mean, in a perfect world, everyone would be on comms, not taking up time on the airwaves with random banter that means nothing. Yes, I'm all about having a good time, but time and place, right? If you're truly trying to coordinate stuff, then it's like, oh, how cool would it be if this guy's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be launching torps on this guy, And like, who's talking, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. So you know where those torps are going, and then you know how the enemy's going to react, and then you can plan your shot, right? Because doesn't it suck when you shoot and you're reloading and then a beautiful shot reveals itself to you and you're like, crap, I wish I was reloaded already. Yeah, baby. Who doesn't love a Citadel? Citadels are like yum, yum, yum. It's like feasting on the tears of your enemy. So great. All right, so now we're down to a 2 versus 4, and we're losing by points, but not by a ton. How is this thing going to end? Yay. All right, so now it's 3-2. Yes, we're winning by points. That's cool. Someone is harassing me. They're hurting my feelings. Okay, bad news is this guy has really great secondaries. Not so much the damage. I just don't want to deal with the fires. Speaking of which. So you put out a fire, and then abracadabra, you may now be subject to even more. One of the drawbacks, right? When you make a super sniper supreme, you open yourself up for increased fire action. I think 10% or something. I don't know. Now, I'm aiming higher than the waterline. Look at that, 23,000. Yes, please. I'm aiming higher than the waterline, and the reason being is that for me, my experience is that waterline on those ships, unless it's super 90 degrees, is not so bueno. See how that bounced. So I try to go for deck level. That's just a me thing. And I'm done. So there you go. This is really the reason why I wanted to share the game with you. And fast forwarding to the end of the game, as nothing to report occurred, we did lose the battle. Our last destroyer did not die. But we lost based on points, and there you go. Again, though, the best darn highest damage game in the Montana for myself. Guys, what damage have you had? What is your experience in Montana? And, I love hearing from you. So let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys in the next one.